Good morning, everyone. This is Jennifer Sanchez. You are watching the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show. Good morning. I know that we have been MIA for the summer, and we're definitely now it's kind of like back to school, back to life, back to everything that women do. And yes, you ladies know, you know how it goes with kids and stuff. So I am your show host today. My name is Jennifer Sanchez. I'm the founder of the Women's Institute of Self-Development Efficacy, WISE for short. And I also am the founder of this show where we talk about motivation, conversation, inspiration. We like to bring amazing women onto our show and just highlight them. And then, of course, I have my beautiful co-host with me, and I'll let her introduce herself. So go for it, Kim.
Good morning, ladies. And yes, I am back to be back on our coffee chat and hosting here with our host, Jennifer Sanchez. And I'm super excited today to have Rachell Kitchen on. I have known Rachell for about 7 years. I have seen her evolved, which is amazing. And ever since I've known her, what has touched me the most about her is the fact that she's always trying to help women find that inner strength that they can be and to find out their purpose in life. I know we all struggle with that. What am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? And then we have this little, like, we have this part of us that says yes, and then we have this other negative side, which I will let Rachell talk about, is that little gremlin, which I love that term. So again, my name is Kimberly Montesinos, owner of Crystal Clear Cleaning, and love being the co-host here at our coffee chat with Jennifer Sanchez.
Nice. So thank you, Kim. Kim's amazing. Kim's awesome. Kim helps us find guests for the show. Kim helps us run our mastermind calls. So I'm thankful for Kim being part of our community. She's been one of my OGs since I started Wise in 2018. So she's been part of it. She hasn't let me go, thankfully. Thank God I haven't, pissed her off. She stayed with me, because I could do that. No, just playing.
Amazing.
But yeah, so Rachell, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Sure. Thank you, ladies, for having me on. My name is Rachell Kitchen, and I am a life and leadership coach. And I work with female entrepreneurs and professionals who struggle with procrastination, perfectionism, and that negative self talk, which I call a gremlin, that is somehow blocking them from achieving the success that they want in either their personal or professional life. And so when they work with me, they get clarity on what the challenges are, what is keeping them stuck and stalled, how to overcome them so they no longer control them, their life, their business, and career.
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that it's so specific, and that's what I really love. Like, it's very
Yeah.
straightforward. This is what you work with. I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we want to do everything and anything, right? Like, we can help you in this, we can help you in that, we can help. No, you're like, no, I help with this. So and I can appreciate that. So of course, for those that are watching, make sure you say good morning to us. Let us know that you are watching. This is a very interactive show, so please feel free to ask questions to our guests. We'll definitely answer them on air. And then let's go into the coffee chat portion, right? So why did this start? Actually, this show started around COVID, because you know how we were always like, as entrepreneurs, you're always saying, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee. So
Mhm.
I was like, why don't I take that concept and put it into a show where we can include everybody in the conversation? And I'm a morning person. I rather breakfast over dinner any day. For
Yeah.
me, like, coffee is life for me. So I'm drinking, actually, what am I drinking? I'm drinking that coffee from our last guest, Kim, the detox coffee. So
Oh,
I am drinking
with
that.
Kara?
Yeah, yeah. I forgot what the brand is called. I don't know if you remember the brand, but I do have that coffee that I'm tasting right now. So that's what I'm drinking this morning. And no cream, no sugar, just black. And I have it on my a Serenity Prayer. Actually, my spiritual mom or my mentor gave it to me, so it has a Serenity Prayer on it. So that's
Oh,
nice to read that in the morning. So that's what I'm drinking. So I'll pass it over to you, Kim.
So today I'm drinking. I have to try that coffee. Let me know how it is. So today I am drinking. I've given up dairy, but I drink oat creamer, which I've learned to adjust, and it's a caramel flavor with organic coffee. It's funny. I just grabbed a cup, but by no means do I feel like this today. It says today has been canceled. Go back to bed.
Oh, I like that. I'm down for that. It's early.
It's early, yeah. What about you,
Nice.
Rachell?
I actually don't have coffee this morning because I am cutting back on the caffeine. I am drinking water. Water is something that we need and we often don't get enough of it. So my goal for the next 90 days is to make sure that I'm getting in at least 64 ounces of water a day. So that's what I'm doing,
Nice.
Good for
drinking
I
you.
water.
love that. Yes. There's a discipline. I know they say wake up in the morning, have water with lemon, hot water. I just have water, you know?
Right.
Water by my bedside. So before I get out of bed, I sip a little bit of my water while I'm, doing my meditation and writing in my gratitude journal, even before I get out of bed. So I'm sipping that water.
Nice.
Very
That's
nice. Love
inspirational.
that
Yes.
gratitude journal.
Yeah.
Yes. Me too. It's always good. I see Esmeralda La Mera Mera. She's watching us. She's a member of our community. She's saying good morning. So good morning, Esmeralda. Uh, she's awesome too. She's like an incredible hiker. Like she loves to hike and travel.
I love to hike.
Yeah, hiking is pretty cool. I do like hiking, I will say. But when you're trying to run in those trails, nah, I'd rather not. I'd rather not. I'd rather do anything else. um, so of course, as you guys are coming in, let us know what you're drinking. Let us know what kind of coffee or shake or whatever. I think we can tell a lot by the person's personality or by the, just by what you're drinking, the type of person that you are. So I love to know what you guys are drinking this morning. And of course, Rachell, I would love to learn, how did you even get, and then Kim, you can ask questions as we go. How did you even get into this life of coaching? Because I know there's just so many coaches out there. Like, how did you get into this?
Well, Jen, that's a great question. And it really started because I call these my concentrated chaos years. And so I was just short of turning 50 some years ago. And within a period of a little over 2 years, here's what was happening, ladies. My dad had been beaten in the streets of Chicago, and he died from his injuries. So he was murdered, basically. So while I was going through that tough time, my 28-year marriage was crumbling right before my eyes. My youngest was leaving the nest and moving across the country. My mother and my mother-in-law were diagnosed with cancer. And then you sprinkle in a few breast cancer scares of my own, and I was a flaming hot mess on wheels. And so I always told my kids, who do you control? You can only control yourself. So I like to walk the talk. So I thought, okay, so I sought out a coaching relationship to help me save my marriage. But what it actually did is that it saved me. It got me back to my authentic self. It helped me uncover my purpose and gave me voice. And when I tapped into that, it was so powerful for me that, my past life, I was an engineer. I didn't want to go back into that. So I thought, I naturally do this. Why not do coaching? So I cashed in one of my IRAs, went to the best coach training school I could find, and I haven't looked back.
Mm,
Wow, that's amazing.
beautiful.
I don't know,
I
Kim,
didn't know that whole story. I'm sorry, Jennifer. I didn't
no,
know the
go
whole
ahead.
story. That's beautiful. I just love how when we go through a storm, I'm sure Jennifer talks about this a lot in her community, how a storm can change your life. It's all how you look at it, right? And your storm created this beautiful career for you. So congrats on that, Rachell.
Your mess, your success.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, I do. Yeah, there's always, there's a test in the testimony, right? Like there's
Mhm.
always these things, and I can appreciate the vulnerable testimonies, the transparent stories. And Kim, you know, like we're big on like bringing women speakers in our community that give us the raw story. I don't want the little, like, don't give me the sprinkles. Don't give me, you know, don't give me that little patty cake story.
Right.
Give me the real deal. Like what, because, and I've said this before, and Rachell, you can share your feedback. Like we've all gone through things. We all go through things. Like it's unavoidable, you know. And I think sometimes, even as coaches, sometimes coaches feel like they have to portray this perfect picture of a life, and this is, I got it all together, when we know deep down, like, no, you don't.
Yes.
Right. And I think people appreciate, I know that's what drew me to Jennifer as a young woman, is her rawness, that she was real. And I think we relate to that more when someone, even if the story doesn't relate, you relate to the person for being raw and vulnerable. You admire that, and it helps you say that it's okay. Right. If
they can do it, you can too.
Right.
If they can, you can too. To be relatable, we often, especially in the social media age, we are usually comparing our behind the scenes mess to everyone else's highlight reel. And then that's where, like I talk about that gremlin, that inner critic, that's where we get down on ourselves, because we're looking at Mary's great vacation and her great career and her great relationship, and she's only posting her highlight reel. She's not telling you about the storm and the rocky journey that got her to whatever she's posting. And women, especially high achievers and people who are dedicated to self-improvement, they tend to be hardest on themselves. And that little voice in our head is telling us all the ways that we messed up, all the ways why we can't, all the ways why it won't work. And it's important to have tools to be able to deal with that voice and move on into your power beyond that negative narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So let me share some of these comments here that we have. Esmeralda did say, on my way to see my dad before work, and we'll be drinking Nescafe soon. So that's nice. We always love Nescafe, especially if we're Hispanic. You know, we love that. Then we have Priscilla. She said, you have to crush the grape to get the wine. Very true. And she also wrote, what an amazing story. Yeah. And definitely, I mean, going from engineering, right, like, to coaching, I mean, tell us a little bit about that transition. I mean, I'm intrigued by that.
Sure. So I was an industrial engineer for 17-ish years. And my youngest, the daughter I told you about that was moving away from me, she was born 3 months early, 24 weeks. And so at the time, my then husband, we couldn't afford for me to stay home. So I one day went into my the president of the company's office and said, hey, something's got to give. I accidentally fell into an engineering consulting business. And ladies, I didn't do it right. I didn't register with the state. I didn't know what I was doing, but I took on my current employer as my first client and picked up a few others. And because I needed to have a flexible schedule, because my daughter was sick. She spent 3 months in the hospital, came home with oxygen monitors and all this stuff. And so still needing the income, I fell into entrepreneurship. Then my then husband eventually made enough where I could stay home. So I was this stay-at-home mom for another 15 years, but I wasn't, just stay at home cooking and shuttling and taxiing kids. I was state PTA treasurer. I ran the treasurer for the referendum. I was still had my hands in a lot of pies. And then when my 28-year marriage started to fall apart, I realized, okay, I have to support myself. At nearly 50, I didn't want to go back into the workforce. And I didn't really like engineering when I was doing it, to be quite honest. And so I thought, that's when I fell into that relationship with a coach, realized that one of my strengths was listening, talking to people, and I was always the go-to person for advice. And okay, I can get paid to do something that I do naturally, tapping into one of my strengths. And that's how it all came about. And here I sit in a home that I bought that's financed by my company. So, yeah.
That's
Amazing.
encouraging. Kim, do you have any questions for Rachell?
Yeah, I love the gremlin piece. I know you spoke and I've heard your presentation on the gremlin. So I know a lot of ladies in our community would love to hear more about what do you do when that, like, when you were saying you were coached yourself and then you started to say, hey, you know what, that comes natural to me. Let me try this. How did you combat that gremlin when she was saying, Rachell, what do you think? Go back to engineering, girl. You should be doing that. Why are you going to step into something new at almost 50?
Yeah, there's really 3 steps, and I talk in detail about this in my solo book, Doubt Your Doubts: How to Transform Negative Self-Talk, Take Action, and Create Your Dream Life. First, you have to be aware of what's going on. Often, and it was true for me, my gremlin was so deeply embedded that I didn't even have any awareness about what was going on. It can be to the point where that voice in your head feels like it's making sense or it's logical, and you're making excuses for why not to take action. And so the first piece is just having to come into Jesus moment with yourself, or getting some support to understand, okay, what is happening for you, and pulling back the curtain on that, because a lot of us don't even realize that is derailing us. And so once I had awareness about it, then it was making going from awareness to self-connection and acceptance. And here's what I mean by that. Accepting that I was where I was in my life because of the impact my gremlin was having on me. It was a combination that was real. And knowing that is powerful, because once I accepted that, then I knew I could change it.
Mm.
And I knew I could change it. Then it's learning how to flip the switch. And there's all types of tools for being able to flip the switch on the negative talk. One of my very first early tools that I learned, now I don't know about you guys, but I love music, and I learned this from my own coach, is it's basically a trigger switch, stopping the negative thought when you're having it. So when you're deep down in the muck and you're beating yourself up, put on a song that means something to you, whether it's the beat, the words, whatever, to break the cycle of the thought. Like, my gremlin's name is Rachel, by the way. Rachel is in my head. She's being that bee. I got to stop this in its tracks. So I turn on a powerful song. One of my very favorites is Lovely Day by Bill Withers. I blast that. I sing that. And that gets me out of that negative headspace. And then I can say, okay, here's what that inner negative self-talk is telling you, but how do you want to show up? How do you want to be in this moment? And sometimes it's okay if you want to sit and lick your wounds. I'm not telling you guys that you need to be running through the field of poppies and idyllic and upbeat and positive all the time, because that's not real. Sometimes you do need to pause when you realize you've been hit with something. You do need to pause and maybe lick your wounds, but it feels different when you choose it versus being at the effect of whatever might be happening. Hopefully that answered your question.
And can you elaborate a little bit more on like when you choose it, right? Because you're saying for us, for someone, it's a difference between just going through it and then you choosing, right, to go through it. Can you elaborate a little bit more for those that are like, maybe someone's watching or will watch the replay and it's like, well, I'm actually going through it. So how do I sit in it?
Yeah, because when I used to say that my life was creating me versus me creating my life. And when you look at the energy around those two different circumstances, when life is creating you and you're just in it, as Jennifer said, you feel like a victim. You feel like you don't have a choice. You probably overwhelmed what to do. Because when you know what, the storm and figure some stuff out, powerful place. Even though you may not be at your best at the time, you are stepping into your power by allowing yourself to just absorb, whether I don't know if you're prayerful, meditative, but allowing you to sit in a space so that you can learn something from the experience. That's, to me, the difference between choice versus just allowing it to happen to you. Allowing, you're like the ping pong ball in the ping pong machine. You hit one thing, you bounce to another, and you're just haphazardly moving along. Versus when you're choosing it, you can pause and say, okay, that thing hit me. What did I learn? How do I want to show up? How do I want to move forward? What do I want to do? And to me, that's powerful.
Wow, that's great. That does take power, resilience, right? For someone to say, okay, you know what, I'm going through it. Let me take a step back. Let me deal with this, right? Because I mean, sometimes you see it all the time. I don't know about you, Kim, but you meet people and you know they're going through something.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, man, you're a hot mess. Yeah. But you know, they don't even recognize what they're going through, right? They don't even
admit it. You know, high achievers don't want to admit it. I know my age group is like, don't let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
Girl, you're showing that's been trained into us. And that's part of what the gremlin feeds back to us. And so we don't know, because that's what we've been learned from childhood, our parents, our educators, and other important people in our lives. And so we have to start to question these narratives.
Absolutely.
I love what you said. That's true, because we're close in age, Rachell, and Jennifer's younger. I was raised, don't show them you're sweating. You know, I was raised to wear a mask of my emotion, right? And it was against my grain, because I'm a very emotional. I don't have a problem being vulnerable. But that was that era. And I love what you said about this era as far as social media. The younger generation is looking at non-realistic things and thinking that's how I'm, you know, look at so-and-so's life. Look at the vacations and the beautiful home and the picket fence with the husband and the kids. Oh my God, I'm terrible. I don't have any of that. When they don't see the mess behind those beautiful pictures. And that really distorts people's lives of what reality really is. So I love that point a lot. When you take our generation and mix it with this one, the differences, the transition of what we went through and how we have to struggle to get through that gremlin, opposed to maybe someone 20 years younger, where she's trying to go through the gremlin because she's seeing an unrealistic view on social media.
Yeah. Absolutely. And not even realizing what it is that you value. Because some women might not want the big house, or might not want the $2 million business.
Right.
And so success is not a one size fit all. It is very personalized. And so success for me, success for Kim, success for Jennifer may look totally different than how you define success.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like community is important too, because when you, like for yourself, you were able to go and you got the coaching, and the realization through the coaching allowed you to have insight on how you wanted to turn. In some communities, if some ladies might not have had that opportunity, but having the right community to help you to get to that next level, and then finding that coach, you know, like it was backwards for me. I got my business, ran it by myself, came across people that helped me along the way. And then, you know, then I started to fly after I surrounded myself with different people.
Absolutely. And I still have a coach. I'm a coach as a coach. I have multiple coaches, and I am in community and masterminds, because we often think we have to do it by ourselves. We didn't actually succeed. Again, that's Gremlin story. We didn't actually succeed if we didn't just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and do it all by ourselves. No, you're not meant to, ladies. You're not meant to.
I love that. I love that. And I love the fact, and Kim knows I'm a big advocate for, like, you should have mentors, you should have coaches, and you should have therapists. That
Yes.
is like a given, because a therapist is not like a coach, right? And a mentor is not like either of the two.
Right.
So having all of that, and the community aspect to it,
Community.
because that just in itself, feeling encouraged, being supported, being around other like-minded individuals, that to me, I think is key, for a better outcome in our lives. Honestly, that's in my opinion, right?
Absolutely. I mean, any given time, I have a community of people that I can call and say, you know what, I'm on the ledge today.
Mhm.
Can I vent?
Yeah.
And or even talking to my coach, like, all right, I'm confused. I don't know where to go. And working through that, having someone who can be a sounding board for you and who can be a mirror for you. And
Mhm.
then reminding you, well, I know you value this. So how do you want to move forward from
Yeah,
here?
absolutely. Well,
Absolutely. Yes.
this is a great conversation. Rachell, do you have a link where if someone wants to purchase your book? I know you mentioned the book about the gremlin. Where would they go?
The book link. I can copy that properly.
Yeah. And Kim, do you have any final words while Rachel's getting that link?
I just wanted to thank you, Rachell. I mean, I was actually doing a training in her home, and it just reminded me of how amazing she is. And I was like, I got a community for you, girlfriend.
For some reason, I can't find it. Put it in the chat here. How do I?
Oh, it's okay. Or just let us know what's the title of the book, and then people can search it on Amazon. I'm pretty sure, right?
It's called Doubt Your Doubts
Ah, nice.
That Transform Negative Self-Talk and Confidently Create Your Dream.
I like the little gremlin on there. I didn't see that. Oh, that's so cute.
Get it to the curb.
Kick it to the curb. Yeah, that is so cute.
Yeah.
Get it to the curb.
Yeah, that is awesome. So definitely check it out. Doubt Your Doubts. That's good. And I definitely appreciate Rashawn. Definitely Kim. I know Kim wants to bring you to our masterminds where we have
Yes.
so once a month, sorry Kim, didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Once a month, we bring in special guests to speak to our community and speak on specific topics. So we really focus on topics of like self-love, boundaries, conflict resolution, right? I can't even think of all the topics, but we have a set curriculum. So we bring in speakers to speak monthly to our community. So definitely, I'm excited to learn more about you and get you more involved with the community, and let us learn more nuggets of wisdom, because that definitely is going to benefit us as women in our lives.
Yeah, I would love to.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful community. And like I said, I've known Rachell for 7 years. I met her in another group, and she's always bringing value wherever she goes. So I appreciate this morning of learning even more about your story that I didn't even know. It's always wonderful to listen. You think you know somebody, and then you always learn something every time. So for me, thank you from my heart for coming on so at last minute too, and making arrangements to be a part of the coffee chat and meeting with Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we'll make sure that we'll tag you too. So if anyone wants to friend request you, they can reach out to you, learn more about you, and definitely check out her book, Doubt Your Doubts. I put it in the chat of this broadcast. And then finally, I want to make sure that I let people know that our retreat is coming. We have our retreat on the 10, 11, and 12. 10 is Friday, 11 Saturday, 12 is Sunday. It's all about just getting back. It's been an interesting year for some folks, right? So we purposely plan our retreats in September, October, after all the chaos of the year, of the summer, and then the title is Embrace Your Womanhood. So I'm very excited about this retreat because I always like my retreats to be spirit-led, Holy Spirit-led. I'll be specific because there's all types of spirits out there. Just joking, but definitely Holy Spirit-led. And I really believe that God really wants us to focus on our womanhood for this retreat. So the speakers, the activities are going to be powerful. So definitely I'll be putting that in the comment section as well of this broadcast. So thank you so much again, Rachell. Thank you, Kim, for being on
You're
with me this
welcome.
morning. You guys are amazing. And I hope everyone that's watching takes advantage of connecting with both of you ladies.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Here's the link,
Oh,
ladies.
here it is. I gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
there you go.
Yes, I got the
Awesome.
link. Yes, so there's the link. You can find her book on Amazon. Check it out. We definitely need to combat those gremlins in our minds all the time. I get it. Totally. We all deal with it. We all have
Yes.
that gremlin.
So everyone has one. Everyone.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, ladies. God bless you. Thank you so
God bless
much.
you too.
Yeah.
Have a
You.
great
Have a great
Enjoy the
day.
day.
rest of your day, ladies.